hardening your firewall. And the other thing we want to talk about is zero trust management plane. So here it's worth mentioning that we have also seen that most of these issues happen because ISPs employ what we call a perimeter defense, right? You say, oh, so far my edge router has firewalls in it, then that's all I care about, right? But what happens with your internal network, right? For example, there's an example we had where an ISP has a very good firewall set up in their edge routers, right? Preventing like very solid ingress and egress filtering, but then a very open and trusting internal network. But then they have a VPN server that they use to connect with their cloud service providers. Now, they had an attack where the VPN server, because they are trusting their internal networks, the VPN server can also internally talk to their OLTs and talk to their routers. So an attacker gaining access to your VPN server, which is publicly facing, automatically has access to all of your networks. They can directly connect to your OLTs, your routers, your radio servers, your TR069 servers, and literally everything, right? So this is where we enforce that you employ zero trust policy and not a perimeter focused fencing. Again, what does this mean in details? In addition to your perimeter firewalls, you need to practice the least privilege. So what it means is that you block everything and only open what you need. So that's a different approach as opposed to, okay, I am opening everything, I am unblocking the things I don't need, right? Which is the biggest issue with zero trust policies. So take note, you do it the reverse way. You block everything and only open the things you need. For example, even in the example I gave where you have your public facing VPN server, and then let's say that your OLTs are in a private subnet, let's say 10.0.0, right, /24. Then if they are in there, your VPN server should not have access to communicate with your OLTs, even on the same local network, unless they need to. So you block everything unless needed. So that is the main policy around zero trust management plane. And now we are going to talk about the final thing on this slide, which is the log management. Like we mentioned before, you really cannot block what you cannot see or what you're not monitoring. So what is the importance of centralized logging? So we say implement a centralized logging solution to aggregate data from your network devices to your servers to your security tools, right? To give you a comprehensive visibility, right, across all infrastructure. Then what should you log is the other question, right? You should log critical events such as user logins, right? This alone is a very broad topic that we can even like take it on its own. Like user logins all the way from your CRM, you need to log that, right? Then from your CRM all to your ONT authentication to your Redis, all of that should be logged. Also your CPEs, all your TR069 should be logged. And all the way to the network, the traffic flow, right? Configuration changes should also be logged and tracked, right? So we also employ that you have a change log system that you can let you see configuration changes over time. How has my configuration changed from this to this and who changed it. They also employ system alerts. So I think this one is what most ISPs do better, right? They have alerts on their networks to alert them on things, but alert alone is not enough. You need to employ alerts with all other things on your system, right? Then also other security related activities to help you with audit trail and support incident response. But in the case where you have like a volumetric DDoS attack that is basically saturating your link, you need to know where to start. And you can only start there by basically having a good audit trail of what's happening on your network. That is if you don't have your DDMS deployed. Now, after having all of these logs, you also need to integrate centralized logs into one security information and event management system, a SIEM system, right? Which some DDMS like Fastnet and OneGuard can also play the role of a SIEM system, but in addition to other monitoring tools, right? And then which will enable advanced threat detection for you with correlation and alerting. What does this do? This helps identify and you respond to potential incidents more effectively. Now, the other thing about logging is retention and compliance. How long do you keep your logs, and are they compliant with your data and privacy rules in your nation, right? So ensure that the data is retained for the appropriate duration of time, that of course meeting the regulatory requirements and forensic investigations. Then implement across controls and secure storage of the data for integrity. Remember, in our very first slide, integrity is part of security, right? Not just it being safe, has not been tampered with. So, and then this basically is what we want to bring to the end of this presentation. But we want to stop here and then make it more interactive, because we believe that having a talk about it is not the most effective way. Let's have an interactive session on the actual mitigations and planning steps and how to manage or even fix these attacks. And this is where I will invite my colleague Matthews, that would be here to answer very direct and interactive questions from us in the team. So thank you very much. Matthews and Charles, can you hear me?
Yes, thank you.
Very well.
Thank you so much. And it has been an expository section, and I want to believe that we are well impacted during this less than an hour session. Please, participant, please, this is the time. I will want to request that your question will start coming in, either via the Q&A. For those who want the chat, we can see them all. Please, all the questions, just type them in so that they can be dealt with, please. Except if Mr. Matthews, we wait for the question and session. But let me even ask this question, please. Let me ask this question about your internal regulation towards this cyber attack. Some organization has their internal policies. I hope you can hear me, Matthias and Nelson. Hello?
Hello? Yeah, we can hear.
Yeah. Some organization has their own internal policies on security of their network. And as a new employed network administrators. Maybe you have one or two issues with these policies. They don't align with your professional ethics in terms of protecting your network based on those policies they have internally. You have a better way to protect it, but they say no, these are internal policy. How do you manage such scenario if you are newly employed in an organization like that?
Matthias, you want to take that?
Yeah, but I can do it. Good morning, everyone. My name is Mateus Ferreira from Brazil. My English, maybe it's not 100% clearly to you guys, but I hope that you understand what I'm talking. So, the Emmanuel MBA H have a question. When under the DDoS attack, on what the first action to take and follow through to mitigate. So the DDoS attack is a hard attack coming from different source. So we can't block the source because most of the times the source, even though he is being used to be an attacker, he is like a botnet, and we can't block your source address. So what we can do, the first thing we need to see it, we need to check what is occurring. We have receiving an attack of the DOS from DNS. We have receiving an attack by ICMP flood, by SYN, by UDP packets. We need to check, we need to have a feature to analyze the comportment, the behavior of traffic. Later, when we have the feature like fastnetmon, like OneGuard, it's features of flow data. We have the behavior of the attack. Later, when we have the behavior, we need to take actions. We have so many ways to mitigate an attack, but the more easiest is contracting a mitigate link detail OS. What means a mitigate link? When you receive an attack and you confirm that, you send to him, I want a protection from the DOS, and he will make a scrambling center. It's like he receive all traffic coming to you, pass through him, and he send a clear traffic to your enterprise. So first, we need the feature to have sure that we are receiving a massive attack. Later, we have the first easier way, that is uh, contracting a mitigate link anti-DDoS. So you can do it by yourself. You can mitigate by yourself, but is so many expensive. It costs a lot of money. Why? Because it's we need equipment to make inspection of all packets, and this all packets will be inspected data by data, packet by packet, protocol by protocol. Even past 1 byte will be looked at, will be searched. So this equipment, it's so expensive. It's a firewall that will be a scrambling center by yourself. But when we receive an attack, it's not so easy, because we need equipment, we need the training guy to make the firewall function, and we need contract link. We need bandwidth, because when a DDoS attack comes to me, I will receive massive traffic. So this massive traffic I need to receive in my edge board or in my firewall. So if I have 10 gigabytes of traffic, when I receive an attack can be up to 100 gigabytes. I have seen 400 gigabytes of attack. It's really massive and expensive. Imagine you need to contract 400 gigabytes of traffic to make yourself the mitigation. So by default, what I suppose, what I recommend, contract an DDoS link, because he have already this things there. He have a bandwidth contracted. He have equipment to make the mitigation, to make the firewall, and send to you just the clear traffic.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much, Matthias. I think the second question is, if you can see it, is it a good practice to immediately restore your backup after a ransomware attack? Is it a good
Nelson?
practice to immediately restore your backup after a ransomware attack?